Знаете, комментировать судебное решение
Well, you know, commenting on a judicial ruling is not something within my competence, because once the ruling is passed, it has to be enforced.
Мы сегодня на экономическом форуме
Here at the Global Economic Forum is where we are, and we are discussing the issues of the investment climate. We definitely can look into this particular topic as well. But what is important for investors, including, amongst other things, such a phenomenon which you have described, which is the Yukos case, or you described it in some other way. I would say the following thing. Firstly, what is important to investors? The problem of privatization of assets has never been touched in any formats or have been put conditional to any decisions or any rulings. And I can tell you that some liked it, while others disliked it. And I can tell you that those who disliked it, there are quite a number of them as well. Although I think that in the specific case, if one is to immerse oneself into the story, there will be a lot of surprising and interesting things opening up. So it is something which really deserves a separate discussion, and this doesn't fit the purpose of today's gathering. However, in any case, the problem of privatization is not being touched by this. The transfer pricing has ceased to be. And I believe that as far as the shareholders are concerned, and as far as the national budget is concerned, this is something which is very important, because there is a difference between the oil acquisition price from a producing unit at $37 per barrel and the subsequent sale through a one-day company with a subsequent selling price at $161. The transparency of the business is much higher now. The tax claims have gone through judicial procedures. Let me remind you that the bankruptcy has been initiated by a group of Western investors headed by the Société Générale, if my memory serves me right. And it was quite a sizable group. You should speak to them. I would like to note in this respect, and that might also touch upon our cooperation with BP, that Rosneft acquired the assets through the tenders, the assets which were clean following the judicial procedures based on the assessment done by international advisors. I don't know what else to say. Killers and fraudsters are behind the bars. This escapade is over, and there are the rules of the game which are stated in the tax code and other legal acts, and this is something which I believe is more important in the eyes of investors, to be able to understand the rules of the game. So I feel that that is the essential thing. And that is a positive thing as well. Now, in terms of the details, I believe that both the Western experts and correspondents can find out about them from the Western companies which have been cooperating with this particular group at the original stages, which is Goldman Sachs and Amoco, and actually the BP as well, PwC. You should better find it out from them. They know all the details. Now, I don't know whether they will share them with you, but you should demonstrate your professionalism. And so I think that in this case you will get answers to many a question. Well, once again, I should say that our today's topic is somewhat different, and commenting on the court decisions is something that I do not intend to do. Well, you know, quite often I hear such statements from the correspondents. Well, there is a common opinion, or there is a popular view on this or that issue. This is a very dangerous statement, so please be aware of it. That maybe there are some interested parties, and you should be more cautious in this sense, so that you shouldn't be used or abused as a professional. Thank you very much for such an objective delivery of information. Thank you.
Okay, we have time for 2 more questions. We'll take this gentleman there, and then we'll take one from the other side.
Reuters Agency. My question is to Igor Ivanovich. Igor Ivanovich, isn't there a dilemma that, let's say, the 10 KBP partnerships, and my question also is to Robert W., that there is a 10 KBP alliance, and there is also an alliance with Rosneft, and certain statements have been heard from 10 KBP representatives that they want to have all the detailed information from the Russian shareholders. They want to find out how it all looks. Don't they have the right to the refusal, etc.? Thank you. Well, you know, I haven't seen anything official. I also heard that a certain misunderstanding may be possible of certain issues. Well, firstly, I can tell you that Rosneft really is the kind of company that such claims cannot even touch. We have consulted our partners from BP, and their opinion is such that they acted completely in compliance with law. In any case, any questions, whenever they come up, should be dealt with within the legal field. And here we do not see any problems whatsoever. And the fact that BP now appears to have additional cooperation opportunities to work together with 10K on the mainland projects and offshore with Rosneft, I don't believe this is bad, and that is really deserves support. In any case, the relationships between BP and Access Renova and Alpha Group do have their own history. They have achieved some extremely good results. The current capitalization of 10KBP is $41 billion, and that is a good result. 10KBP as the company has 28th place in the ratings of the leading oil and gas companies of the world. Just by comparison, Gazprom is 6th, Rosneft is 17th. So, I wish success both to 10KBP and to the joint project that BP will run together with Rosneft.
And I just add, Mr. Chairman, that we have agreements with AAR and TNKBP. We will most certainly honor all of those agreements. Now that we have only today signed the overarching strategic framework agreement, we'll be forwarding those documents to our partners at AAR, TNKBP. We intend absolutely to follow all of our agreements with them. We're certainly not in breach of those agreements. We'll be sharing the information with them shortly. And so TNKBP is a very important venture for BP. It's a very successful company. We see it as prospects for growth. It has great capability of operating on the onshore in Russia. It doesn't actually operate offshore. The kinds of work that would be done with our partners in Rosneft offshore require a different sort of skill set. I think that's well known. But we'll be absolutely sharing these agreements with our partners and working out a resolution with them.
Okay, we'll have just one more question, gentleman here. This gentleman here.
Hello, I'm Ben King from Channel 4 News in London. I have a slightly parochial question about UK growth. As you're now the leader of one of the UK's largest companies, yesterday or the day before we saw the announcement of a terrible growth figure, -5%. What's your reaction to that? And does that prove that the government's austerity plan is misguided?
Well, first off, I don't think you can draw long-term trends from instantaneous data quarter by quarter. So you take a little bit longer perspective. I think that both Europe and the United States, they are going through a period of austerity. I think the world itself is growing at a slower rate. I think that's to be expected. But I'm always cautious of drawing conclusions like that from one data point. I think let's just wait and see. The government's taking some tough decisions. They're implementing it. But that is the world we live in 2011, I think.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, the panel, and good afternoon.